Philanthropy is in my family for a long time. It is more than 100 years now. So I was very fortunate to be born in the family of philanthropists. We had a couple of institutions in education, in health. They were there for many years, in fact. My father was a really guiding spirit for me, and he was a role model for me. He used to give away most of his savings to philanthropy. So I think that was there, in fact, in my back of my mind all the time, and I think it's there in my whole family from that aspect, whether it is myself or my daughters, because giving was the way of life for us. The question came was what you should be doing it. So I used to start first. My father had a hospital he was managing, so I started giving money over there. Then whatever his requirements, I was trying to help him, in fact, to put more, in fact, what I can do. But that was just, I would say, a general philanthropy. Then I was also always enjoying, from my younger days, going to nature, going to the close to going for the trekking in Himalayas, which I did after the schools, in fact, actually. And we did my mountaineering institute in Darjeeling. From there onwards, after the college, I had gone to Nainital, and we went to see Corbett in between. And it was fortunate to see a big cat, leopard I saw. It got me excited. But more than that, I enjoyed just being there in the nature. So I came back, and then, well, I used to go when I got married, and luckily my late wife, she enjoyed also. So we went in India, in various places. We went to Africa, and I think that was just enjoying ourselves, excitement, kind of some sort of adventurism to start with. Started feeling. So it was just, when I've gone there, some of the people were very nice. I thought I asked questions to them. I realized they require funds. So I just started giving, just without any particular reason. I just started giving money to various their employees, welfare funds, etc. So when I started knowing, in fact, a little more, and the friends like Bitu Saigal and various others who I met, I started realizing the importance of forest. And Tiger was just a flagship, which of course everybody should enjoy trying to watch it. It's a flagship of the country. But at the same time, I realized what is the forest is all about. Apart from which you are talking about climate change, carbon sequestration, but more important for India now is water. More than 600 rivers today, which I am trying to assist those forests, which are either originated or they give fresh water to the rivers. So from that aspect, I realized that it's important to give and see how we can do it more professionally. So I appointed, in fact, at that time, I was fortunate to have somebody, Anish Andheria, who is the president of this organization now, of Wildlife Conservation Trust. So we started recruiting people. We have more than 40 people now. We tie up locally with various NGOs, because to spread out, we are working in more than 19 states now, and more than 120 national parks and reserves, in whether it is tiger sanctuaries or whether elephant corridors or whether the bird sanctuaries. We try to see what we can do and try to save forest. I think we are now taking up full efforts in the north in future. So in the end, water is becoming an important thing, and climate change is becoming an important thing in my back of my mind. At the same time, I want more people to fall in love with nature so they can start also wanting to protect the nature and try to see what they can do themselves. I mean, happy to say that in last 5 to 7 years, particularly, a lot of youngsters they have started taking interest in wanting to go to forest to see the tiger or see the leopard or the elephant. I think that has made a difference. That you will be surprised, but there are crores of children, in fact, today in the countries who are wanting to save the forest. We have to work along with the state government, try to see what we can do, how can we supplement them and not to replace them. So we work along with the partnership with many times in various states, in partnership with states. India requires much more to do still. So I'm trying to see what else can we do apart from the Wildlife Conservation Trust. I'm trying to get the largest conservancy in the world, called the Nature Conservancy, also to bring to India. I've taken the lead to bring them here. Hopefully, application is pending and we should be able to get that permission. Apart from there, this is more of a philanthropy, you can say, where we have been operating philanthropy. We also do in schools, in Nasik education side. But more than that, I realize when you want to save forest, you have to save people around or look after the people around forest area. And they have not many times seen doctors, so look after their health. We have done about around 250,000 people. We assisted there, getting doctors from outside, from the cities, and get them there to see them. Then there is education. We have done is about 550 plus schools, maybe so around 600 schools now. We are assisting them, is trying to see how they can improve the education there in the schools. Schools are already there, but they are not equipped properly. The teachers' training which is required, various things which are required to do with the school, in fact. So we are doing that at the moment. And the most important of all is livelihood, because if they do not have the livelihood, they will be cutting forest or for the firewoods or for the cattle grazing. I think the various things which happen with that, the forest gets reduced. So I think we require to see that the people around the forest area also are looked after. Same philosophy, I'm trying to see what we can do in other areas. Now, some of them I cannot be operative myself in every institute. We had old institute with us, in fact, couple of them, where we had like sanatorium for when tuberculosis was very prevalent. I converted them into the holiday home for the lower middle class, because it's very difficult for people to go with the family for holidays. Then there is the Lodging and Boarding Institute, more than 100 years old, where up-country students come and study here. Apart from there, I personally give it, well, I enjoy giving actually. So I give every week something or other to any other NGOs apart from operating NGOs. Now, many people may say, even Dasra for example, that it is not impact one. But I think I realize that there are so many good NGOs across India, and the needs are different. They are not able to reach the large corporates, and they are doing a good job. So you have to see the people. I do make mistakes, maybe 10, 15% or 20% may not have been a right one which I put money for. But I realize that in the end, the money is being used well in most of the places. So that's what I am doing as of just now, and which will continue. So I have got major two. One is operating side, and one is a general philanthropy which I do when recommendation from somebody, or we have given past and they are doing well. So we are. This is my personal side. I'm trying to see how I can give more, and will continue to do so with whether I'm alive or after my passing away, will be there in the well also. I think government today are the one who have the policy, create the policies. Okay. Then we have to see whether the policies are properly implemented. The execution is where the problem lies. Then the funds sometimes given are not enough at particular places, so we have to look into those aspects. Influencing or talking to them or getting into the various boards of forest departments or like I am in the board of Rajasthan Wildlife Board and Maharashtra Wildlife Board. I am also on NTCA, which is the National Tiger Controlling Authority. I am also on the board, in fact, over there. So you discuss with them, give your views, and express yourself. Getting them involved, getting them, if there are a lot of good officers who are not recognized today, and motivating is a major thing, in fact, and which we try to attempt through various ways, through my company, by creating awards with sanctuary. So there are things which we do. We also do in various wildlife national parks and try to create awards for them, for that matter. But I think the same thing we have started doing, in fact, in even cities, the schools, where the teachers are recognized for the good education which they're giving. We try to find out from their peers and the students who should get, who is doing good job of that. Philanthropy has been there for many, if you see many families, whether Tatas, whether Godrej family, whether Birla family, or you mentioned there are so many families who are involved with philanthropy in many ways. Some of them are building temples in a different way. Some of them were doing, in fact, on a pilgrimage place. In fact, they used to have dharmashalas, for example, for staying for people, to hospitals, to schools. So I think it has been there. But what's really happened in last, after 92 liberalization which took place in India, the wealth generation has started. Earlier, the wealth generation was limited between, say, 60s to those 30 years period was less of a wealth generation. So, which is today, things are changing. People, youngsters also are getting involved in philanthropy. They started realizing they are getting rich faster than what they thought they can be. And they are giving and seeing what others are doing. And maybe they are wanting also to give today. Which today with CSR, the corporate social responsibility, the large amounts would be available. So I think institutions like DASRA, of course, can play a very important role. What we want is, and I would like is, people giving more and they find inner satisfaction, feeling of joy in giving. That is very important, and hopefully that will come to many people. I've seen youngsters like Amit Chandra, for example, is wanting to give 90% of his wealth. Okay, so there are great examples are there today, even youngsters which is coming in fact. I won't say a barrier, but the problem is if somebody wants to create a foundation in India so that they can work professionally, there are charitable trust organizations. They become outdated. So people will have, government will have to see one day where nobody has talked much about that, but it's really a pain to get various approvals and to follow the system, where to invest, where not to invest, etc. So I think how can we make it easier for people to give money? That we'll have to think through. And how can we channelize more money to the society, to general society and to the people over here. We can take examples of what Bill Gates has done, for example. Okay, I think it's a great example. To some extent, Azim Premji and those people tried to follow that, and Nandan Nikalani and Rohini, they try to do something of that nature. So we require more people like that. We have seen in North, Bharti and various other people are doing that. So I think it's spreading. The only question which is there is whether the corporates are looking only for their own people or around, or where the factories are there only, or they are taking much more wider aspect as such. And as money is going to grow, let's hope more scientifically they spend their money and impactful what they can do. It's okay for me to be philanthropy the way I do, but when large money comes in the picture here and potential of making it, this money can make a difference to the society. Maybe I think we should come out with the thinking where what are the things society requires more from CSR activities. We have to start thinking. Needs are many, whether it is in the rural areas or urban areas. We have seen whether it is sanitation, whether it is schooling, education, or whether it is health. We require many things to be done, and I think that awareness has to be brought in to people at large and corporates in particular. We are not done our work yet, over yet. We are building it still. We still require a lot of gaps are there in our organization. 40 people, we can have 200 people, but that's not the idea. Idea is how can we be effective? How can the team can work together? First, the systems are in proper place in the organizations. Then second aspect which is required is whether they are doing proper budgeting, whether they are spending well, whether the goals are what we want to do with the budget from the beginning. These are the basic normal institutionalized approach to take place in that. But doesn't mean we have a long way to go in this. I have seen the organizations internationally, started knowing a little bit more. I think the kind of in-depth work they do is, I don't think in India our NGOs are still able to, are doing it anywhere nearby that. So they have a specialized thing for everything, but because they are large, they can afford to do that. I'm giving example of the Nature Conservancy which I have come close. I have joined, maybe taking a chairmanship in India, and I'm joining the Asia board over here. So how they work in fact in the system is really, I must say I'm very impressed. I went to the trustee meeting in Washington, seeing their passion. So what is important is people who are getting in the organization require a lot of passion. So passionate people in that cause, what they want to do is also is important. So I think philanthropy can be considered in various reasons. Just giving money, operating is one other aspect wise. So I think we are at learning stage. At least I am at learning stage into the whole thing as said, and it's nice to see Anu Aga, for example, doing such a great job. I'm very impressed with her. That she takes the leadership into doing something different, and so I think we have various heroes in philanthropy. We require more of them to come up in India in future. I think Indian philanthropy will be driven by the funds availability from CSR activities and the personal money, of course. So personal money amount will become a smaller, and CSR activity side is getting bigger in fact. 2% is a large amount of any corporates to be giving in that. The question is the CSR activities of a corporate is learning. Maybe the Sura and other institutions should be guiding those people, things in fact, as an advising what their objectives to find out, and how can the people who are corporates can personally get involved. What are the needs of the country? Also we have to see. If you see holistic basis, what are the needs of people? To start with, people want livelihood. Then the question comes in is whether livelihood, before livelihood, the education. Then there are various different departments which go health, and you can consider it the poverty side to sanitation side to various other segments you can look at it. I think if you can try to create where somebody can go in a particular segment and focus on that, everybody is trying to do everything. I'm worried about it, that it will not be, it's better some of them try to focus more on certain areas, may not be a bad idea. Getting the right people is important. It takes time, because you cannot, one side you are doing your own business, other side, either you give up your business and just focus on that. That's one way of looking at it. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea to do that also. But even if you are working and generating income, and at the same time you are also doing philanthropy, so you require your vision, and that vision, who can deliver the vision. So we require the right people to have the organization. Then you require to think of structure like whether you are creating a charitable trust organization or Section 8 company you are creating, what way we are trying to do something on that. Or you want to just give philanthropy the way I have suggested, that I give it money to good NGOs. Yes, I think it's a combination of all that which is required, because you cannot reach everything yourself. You can't do everything or every cause, but you also consider that cause is important, whether it is cancer, whether it is poverty. Suddenly you see somewhere and somebody is doing a good job, or there is a flood somewhere and they require money, or there is a famine and you require the funds to pass on there. So I think it's various things which you require to do, in fact, and that particular thing depends on your own inner desire, what you want to do. So that's, on that basis you have to follow. But I think my experience is, I made mistakes, surely, and I will continue to make mistakes. But if my heart says I want to do something, I will still do it, and that's what I want.